Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to talk about the marketing management process. We're going to break it all down in a really simple way so you can see how the brands you see and use every day, how they make their big decisions.
So let's start with a question, just to get us thinking. I'm sure many of us use apps like Food Panda, right? But have you ever stopped to wonder how they decide which new restaurants to add? It's not just a random guess. It all comes from having a really good marketing plan.
So what is a marketing plan? Well, the easiest way to think about it is it's like a map for a trip. A map tells you where you're going, right? And it shows you the best way to get there. A marketing plan, it does the exact same thing for a company.
And having a good plan is just so important. It really helps a company think about the future. It makes its goals super clear for everyone, and you know what? That means the whole team can work together, pulling in the same direction. It also gives you a way to check your results, and if something isn't going right, you can change things quickly.
Okay, so what does this whole marketing journey look like? Well, it's actually a pretty simple 4-step process. And as you're about to see, it's a cycle that just keeps going.
Now, here's a picture of the whole process. I know, it might look a little complicated, but don't worry. We're going to break it down into 4 easy parts. And everything, it all starts with analysis.
All right, let's get into it. Here are the 4 steps. First up is analysis. That's where you really try to understand your situation. Then comes planning. This is where you make your map. After that, we have implementation. That's when you actually start your journey. And finally, number 4 is control, where you check how you're doing and make changes. And because it's a cycle, after control, you go right back to the beginning. Okay, let's talk about step 1, analysis. Before you can make any kind of plan, you have to understand where you are right now. You need to understand your own company, and you need to understand the world around you. Think of it like looking at the ground before you start to build something.
So one of the best tools for this is something called a SWOT analysis. SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Now, the really important thing to remember here is that strengths and weaknesses are internal. They're things about the company itself. And opportunities and threats, those are external. They're about what's happening outside in the world.
Let's make this real. Imagine you want to open a new milk tea shop in a super busy place like Causeway Bay. Your strength could be your amazing brown sugar pearl recipe that no one else has. But what's your weakness? Well, you're a new shop, so nobody knows who you are yet. What about the opportunity? It's huge. There are so many young shoppers there who love milk tea. But there's also a threat. There are so many other drink shops right there. That's your competition.
Okay, so SWOT is a great start. But that whole opportunities and threats part, it's actually really big. We need to look at it a bit more closely. We have to understand all the things on the outside that can affect a business, and we call this the marketing environment. And this environment has 2 parts. First, you have the micro environment. These are things that are close to the company, like your customers or the people you buy ingredients from. Then you have the macro environment. These are the really big things in society, like the economy, that you just can't control.
Let's look a little closer at the microenvironment. These are the people and groups you deal with almost every day. So for our milk tea shop, this would be our suppliers, the company that sells us our tea leaves. It's our customers, of course, and it's our direct competitors. Yep, all those other bubble tea shops nearby.
And then we have the macro environment. These are those huge forces you have no control over. For instance, maybe there's a new technology, like a new payment app that everyone starts using. That could be a great opportunity. On the other hand, if the economy is bad and people have less money to spend, well, that would be a pretty big threat.
Okay, so we've done our analysis. Now it's time for step 2, planning. Since we understand the situation, we can finally make our map. This is where we decide exactly how the company is going to grow and win. So how do companies actually plan to grow? A really helpful tool is this one, the product/market expansion grid. It shows us 4 main ways a company can grow. Let's walk through each one, and we'll use some Hong Kong examples that I'm sure you know.
First up, we have market penetration. All this means is selling more of what you already have to the customers you already have. A good example is Welcome Supermarket. They already have their regular customers, right? By adding online shopping, they just made it easier for those same people to buy more stuff from them.
The second way to grow is called market development. This is when you take the product you already have and you sell it in a new place or to a new group of people. Park and Shop is a perfect example. They're all over Hong Kong. So when they decide to open new stores in mainland China, that's a classic example of market development.
A third way is product development. This is when you create something new for the customers who already like you. Think about Starbucks. Everyone knows they sell coffee. But when they add new things to the menu, like fruit drinks, they are developing new products for all the people who already come into their stores.
And finally, there's diversification. This one is the riskiest move, selling a new product to a completely new market. A great local example is 759 Store. You know them. They started by selling snacks from Japan. But when they started opening their own restaurants, that was diversification. It's a new product, restaurant meals, and they're trying to get a new type of customer.
So once you've picked a way to grow, you need to think about the details. How are you actually going to do it? Well, this is where the marketing mix comes in. You might have heard of this before as the 4 Ps. These are the 4 main tools marketers use to get their plan to work for their customers.
This slide explains the 4 Ps perfectly, using a brand everyone in Hong Kong knows. So the product is the Vita soy milk itself. The price is, well, how much it costs. The place is where you can buy it, like in a 7-Eleven or maybe on HKTV Mall. And finally, promotion is how they tell you about it, like when you see a big Vita soy ad on a screen in the MTR.
Okay, so we've done our analysis and we've made our plan. Now it's time for the last 2 steps, and they are so important: implementation and control. This is where the plan stops being just paper and becomes a real thing.
So implementation is pretty simple. It's the doing part. You can have the best plan in the world, but it's useless if you don't do anything. This means deciding who does what, when they do it, and how. But you can't just start it and forget it. That's where control comes in. Control is the checking part. You have to measure your results. Are you selling more? Are more people coming to your shop? If you aren't reaching your goals, you need to find out why and then make changes. And that's what makes it a cycle. The things you learn from control help you do a new analysis, and you just keep getting better and better.
And there you have it. The marketing process is happening all around us every single day. So to finish up, let's try to use what we've learned. Think about the MTR. Using that idea of product development, what's one new product or service it could offer to its existing market, the passengers? Give it a thought. This is how you start to think like a real marketer. Thanks for listening.